And Dr. Marietta Shore is my co-director of the CYCLE project, the Cross-Cultural Interdisciplinary Cooperative Learning Project that was based at Teachers College, Columbia University. So she and I continue to collaborate because she's a professor at Lehman. Marietta, you want to say hi?
Hi, great to be here, Sandy. Congratulations on what you're doing.
Well, my first time being on Zoom.
You look
ever.
great, Sandy.
Oh, thank you. And I feel there's Gail Thigpen Allen, who's also a collector. Hi, Gail.
I've gotten to know Dr. Epps over the last 6 or 7 years through several collaborations, and I'm currently the director of art exhibitions at Sidwell Friends School, where I've been teaching for the past 5 years, and Dr. Epps was our guest for our Lou Stovall exhibition recently, and then the Sam Gilliam show before that. So Dr. Epps has been a great partner to Sidwell Friends School, and I'm honored to be here tonight.
Welcome to What is Hanukkah International Art Exhibition. It's being hosted and sponsored actually by Dr. Sandra Epps of Studio Gallery 208 and Chief Curator Bobby Kidd, who is the director at Studio Gallery 208. So what I'd like to do is to turn over the next section to Bobby.
First things, just greetings to everybody. And I want to give God thanks first for this beautiful exhibition. I really cannot begin to tell you guys how God's blessings enabled this marvelous event to happen, to transpire. It's just incredible. That's a whole nother story at another time. But at some point later, maybe in December or January, I may ask a couple of you guys to testify as to how you were blessed by participating in this particular exhibit, this historic event. I consider it. It's historic to me because there's so many reasons. I'm going to talk about 3 of them only, that I can go on, and I'm going to try to be as brief as possible in my introductory remarks. First, I think it's historical because it's spiritual, in that it honors and celebrates a significant Jewish holiday. And it recognizes the presence of God through art in all of our everyday lives. That to me is just very powerful, just right there. The second aspect to me, it's Gallery 208's first 3D exhibition and Zoom. I mean, we've never done this before, so it's so exciting, and it's historic in that sense that it's the first time we've done something like this. And third, it's a collaboration. I call it a collaborative community connection among Christians, because I am a member of Emory Fellowship United Methodist Church, and our Jewish brothers and sisters of Jewish faith. I say that because, again, Emory has a long relationship in DC, working with, affiliated to a couple of other temples, Temple Sinai and one of the other temples in DC. We do a lot of things with them. They help us with a lot of our projects. So to me, it's just a continuation and a deeper connection to the temples and to our Jewish brothers and sisters here in DC. And then next, I want to thank Dr. Epps for sponsoring this exhibit and gallery talk, and especially, particularly Carolyn Goodrich. She's our Art Impact International founder, executive director, curator, and I think without them, this would not have happened at all. So it would be unlikely it would happen without their participation presence. They made it happen. And lastly, I want to thank all the participating artists for submitting your work, your beautiful artwork. I think we all are blessed by it, and it's just a wonderful event to have you guys participating like this. And at my last few points, I want to thank also a Rabbi Sid Schwarz. He's a rabbi at a place called the Jewish Lab for Sustainability in New York, and our pastor from my church, Dr. Pastor Joseph Daniels Jr. He's a senior pastor at Emory Fellowship Church, and they provided prayer cover and prayer blessings for this particular event. So after the prayers, I'm going to turn everything over to Carolyn. You got it, and thank you guys so much.
Great, thank you so very much. Thank you so very much. So now, Bobby, guys, I'm going to share my screen. This is Rabbi Sid Schwarz, as Bobby said, the Senior FellowHazon from the Jewish Lab for Sustainability in New York.
Now, I will share my screen in a moment and recite the two blessings over the Hanukkah menorah, and you can follow along in the transliteration. So with the lights behind me, I'll recite each blessing, chanting it in Hebrew, and then reading it in English. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu lahadlik ner shel Chanukah. Blessed are you, Adonai, our God, ruler of the universe, who has made us holy through God's commandments and commanded us to light the Hanukkah candles. And the second blessing. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, she'asa nisim lavoteinu, bayamim hahem ba'azman hazeh. Blessed are you, Adonai, our God, ruler of the universe, who performed wonders for our ancestors in history at this very time of year. And as we say those blessings, let us pray that in our own lives, we not only get to experience miracles, but we also understand that we have agency to become the creator of miracles as well. Wishing you a happy holiday season and a happy Hanukkah.
Hello, everyone. My name is Joseph Daniels. I have the honor and privilege of serving as the lead pastor at the Emory United Methodist Church, affectionately known as the Emory Fellowship. It is a joy to be with you this evening for this wonderful celebration of art as we celebrate Hanukkah and the power of Hanukkah and the power of our Judeo-Christian roots. We give God thanks, and I simply want to offer a prayer this evening as we celebrate the miracles of God. Lord, we are so grateful to you for the blessing of life and life eternal. We're so grateful to you for the privilege of celebrating you through art in this wonderful occasion this evening. We are grateful to you for this season of Hanukkah, this season that reminds us that nothing, God, is impossible with you, that you are the God who can work miracles, even when we don't know that you're working them. You are the God who can add to that which seems to be short. You are the God of resilience who can give us a sense of resilience, even when it seems that all hope is lost. And so, God, as we celebrate our Judeo-Christian roots, as we pause to celebrate Hanukkah in the same season in which Christians celebrate Christmas, oh God, we thank you for the chance to come together across lines of difference. We thank you for the opportunity to fellowship together in unity and in peace. And we thank you for this wonderful display of your love and your beauty. May we continue to enjoy, and may we continue to give you thanks. In the name of the one in which many call Yahweh, in the name of the one of whom I call Jesus. Amen. God bless you, everybody. Continue to enjoy this wonderful and powerful event.
On the 25th day of the Hebrew month of Kislev, which usually occurs during the second half of December, Hanukkah celebrates the victory in the year 165 before the Common Era of Judah the Maccabee and his 4 brothers, sons of Mattathias the priest, all members of the Hasmonean family over the Syrian Greek rulers who had assumed control of Palestine after Alexander the Great. It was against their domination the Hasmoneans rebelled. The Syrian Greeks attempted to impose heathen practices over the Jews of Palestine, culminating in the conversion of the Holy Temple into a pagan shrine. In the year 165 before the Common Era, the Hasmoneans and their small, poorly armed band of faithful Jews who had displayed such extraordinary courage and tactics during their 3-year struggle miraculously recaptured the temple in Jerusalem from the powerful Syrian Greek army, and they rebuilt the desecrated altar. Centuries later, the Talmud explained that when the Syrian Greeks captured the temple, they had defiled all the jars of oil that had been prepared for lighting the temple menorah. After much searching, only one small undefiled jar containing only enough oil to burn for 1 day could be found. The high priest nonetheless kindled the menorah, and the flame from that one jar of oil miraculously continued to burn for 8 days. To commemorate this event, Hanukkah, which is a Hebrew word meaning dedication, would be observed every year by kindling the lights of a special Hanukkah menorah called a Chanukiah for 8 days. And Hanukkah became known as Chag Urim, the Festival of Lights, to celebrate the triumph of the few against the many and the weak against the strong. I pray now that the strength and sacrifice of the Maccabees of old may give all people in this year 2020 the dedication, courage, and strength to do all that is necessary, all the difficult things, and make the difficult sacrifices that we are now called upon to do in order to stem a terrible pandemic. And may the light of the Hanukkah menorah bring light into our own lives, and may it be a harbinger of healing to the world in the year to come. And again, I wish everyone a happy and a very blessed holiday season.
Dr. If you can just introduce yourself and say a few words about you and Mac in New York City, that would be great.
I want to say, bless all of you. And at the end, I'll make another comment. But right now, we want to get on with the presentation of the artists.
So this is our webpage, and this will be up through January the 31st, because the show will be up, and it'll give people a chance to see it. So we have 2 galleries here. The first gallery is the International Marble Gallery, and the second one is the Gallery of Cultural Affairs, which is the biggest one. So anybody who visits the 3D gallery, you don't have to keep these buttons down here. I'm going to go to this wall and start. You just left click on any of the images once and it'll bring you towards. So we'll start with this wall. And this piece is by Anand, Journey to Heaven. Anand, are you here? He may not be on the call. This is another one of his pieces. He is from India. Let me just back up one. And he entitled this one, Journey to Heaven. I will at least want to give his titles. And this one is an oil on canvas called Lead Kindly Light. Lead me from the asat to the sat. Lead me from darkness to light. Lead me from death to immortality. Om, peace, peace, peace. This piece is by Stephen Chait. Stephen, are you here? If you're here, you can unmute yourself.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
very good. Very good. Can you speak a little bit about your piece here, Let Religious Freedom Shine?
Well, first, I guess a little technical background. The people in the background are actually photographs of little HO gauge model railroad people. And a lot of my work is involving getting little characters like that and putting them into various situations. But the idea, I grew up Jewish, and in our education, we were always taught that the most significant part, I think, of Hanukkah is that it's an intolerance for religions to accept each other, and the necessity of everybody having the freedom to worship the way they'd like. So that's kind of what I meant by that. And like I said, we just little characters that are collaged together.
I see. Very good. Is this your only piece in the show? I think it is.
Yes. Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
We didn't have much time, did we?
Right, we didn't. we didn't. But we met the challenge, and I really. Go ahead.
Absolutely. Look, I mean, I'm overwhelmed by how many entrants there are, how many people there are in the show.
Thank you,
great.
Stephen. This is a beautiful piece as well by Ronnie Francis Greenspan. She got a lot of likes on Instagram for these pieces. Ronnie, are you with us? This one's called Whimsical Menorah. It's a mixed media, and she says it's an unconventional depiction of Hanukkah menorah. It's very beautifully done, mixed media. And this is a second one of her pieces. This is called Hanukkah Fish, subtle inference to Hanukkah menorah sidewise in fish. Fish as a spiritual symbol. So she has combined spirituality with Hanukkah, with the menorah, and she's combined it artistically with this. I can also see figures of people as well towards the right. And she has a lot of brilliant colors, beautifully done, 18 by 20 Hanukkah fish. And then this piece, Joel did this piece. He is, I believe, in Miami, Florida. Joel, are you with us on the call? If you are, can you unmute yourself? But he says here, this is a round cut wood panel. It says, when the Jewish temple was destroyed many centuries ago, they found a lamp with oil in it that should have lasted only 1 day. However, the oil burned for 8 days. That is why each night of the 8 days of Hanukkah, another candle is lit until there are 8 in total. The first night is 1, the second is 2, etc. The temple was entered after the Jews defeated a group that was trying to destroy them, but the group had destroyed the temple before being defeated. The oil lasting for 8 days, and that was considered a miracle. So you can tell that Joel did his research, and he was kind enough to put inside of his, next to his artwork, a narrative about this. So people who visit the show online can see exactly what Cantor Morris Wolk said, and also what I'll share towards the end that was also spoken about. So again, is Joel here, or did he unmute himself? He does have another piece, the second piece here, a taller one, Eternal Flame of Hope. So this is an abstract piece done with acrylic on canvas this year, and And so really he's focusing on the fact that the flame is a flame of hope and it will never go out. As Cantor Wolk mentioned, hoping that in this time of pandemic that we strengthen ourselves and continue what we're doing spiritually that is positive, and that we continue burning the light of hope within us. And this piece is by, let's see if it will pull up for us nicely, Larissa. Is Larissa Jaromoska, is she here? This one is called, and I can't pronounce it, but I believe it is German, and it's about Auschwitz. Auschwitz, innocent victims of the concentration camp, are connected as part of our history in Europe. So Larissa is, I believe she's from Poland, and she created this piece to connect with what's going on probably today. And also the UN itself has cited that cultural imperialism is still going on in the world today. People coming to take over for the lands, for the oil, for diamonds, for gold, for the riches of a land, but they will decimate other cultures' heritage, their religion, their even their ways of speaking, right? So one of the things I believe this is a wonderful exhibit to remind us of, that there are people who have gotten joyfully regained, right? They've triumphed. That's what I was trying to remember. They triumphed over these obstacles. And this piece is by Vasil Juta. Is Vasil here? I believe Vasil is from Croatia. So his time zone may be different, of course, than ours, but this is an acrylic on canvas. And for him, this is the spirit of celebration. So the Hanukkah is a remembrance and a celebration, and just as we were told, the rededication or reclamation of what was lost and now it's put back, so, and regained. So this is a abstract piece done in acrylic on canvas, quite a large piece, 24 by 36. The Festival of Lights is the time of celebration. Very beautiful. Another piece by Vasil, and it's resilience. And he says, there is nobody more resilient than the Jewish people. A bird is hurt, but she still flies high, no matter her pain. Very beautiful. And this again is acrylic on canvas, done last year. This piece, Elena is here. So Elena, please unmute yourself and let us hear about your piece, The Flaming Shrub.
First, hello. I want to thank you all because I feel blessed to be here. This is, bueno, I am Spanish. I grew in an atheist family, but I have always been looking for a spiritual life. And it's my third year here in America. And I have paint since I was very little, but I grew next to the mountain, so I think it's in nature is it's the holiest thing it is. I paint au plein air. This is a cedar. It's my brother. We planted in a little house we have in the mountains where the shepherds go, and now it's 60 years old. Well, no, 60, no, but it has 50 years. It's very, I haven't been there since a long time. And thunder has hit him because the cedar is keeping the house. And it has been it has been keeping himself from all the with the strength and with force. And it's like my brother, because my brother is very, very weak, but it's very strength. And when I painted with the leaves, and I thought about, because I have been my first, ¿cómo se llama? I'm sorry for my idiom. My first married, I was married with, he studied Kabbalah, and I have been looking a lot in God. I have studied Bible afterwards, but I like to paint the essence, the whole, and the heart, and the secret life, and the spirit of things, and this has a lot of love. This is my brother.
Very beautiful, very beautiful. I believe that you've depicted the spirit of this tree, the flaming shrub, very beautifully. The colors, detail on the branches, the light emanating from it and around it, the green, the blue, the brown, and even the black is just wonderfully done, Elena. Beautiful.
It's alive, because I was with it when I painted.
Ah, okay. Right. As you said, plein air. So you were there.
Yeah, it's a plein air.
And this is your second piece.
Yeah.
This one is called Light.
See, light is the essence. Yes. This is a yellow tile path. It's made out of buttercups. It's in the end of the valley, and it's a tribute to hope and to faith, because it's a real carpet of little lights, and it's also means the faith and going inside ourselves to it's a spiritual path, because I articulate my work around three spiritual knowledge ways: the alchemic, the Christ, and the warrior one. And this is the mix of the whole of them, because it's a real path too. It's in the end of the valley, and it was north faced, but it was like that. So I painted the same like the other.
Beautiful. Thank you. Thank you. And this is in oil color and acrylic, right?
Yeah, I have it here.
Okay. Thank you.
Here it is.
Okay. And do we have Erin with us on the call? Erin? This is also abstract. This is Peace and Reflect. To create art is to find a place of peace within. So again, the artists are depicting what they feel is the most important spiritually for them. And for Erin here, these three pieces, I believe, have to do with peace. And I believe that's why she has blue as the main colors on most of them. This one is called Walter's Waltz. Water moves like music, creating, again, a peaceful place. And the last one for Erin is called Morning Sunrise, hence more of the yellow colors. This also is acrylic and ink on linen, beautifully done. This piece has a lot of narrative in it. This is called The Real Life of Outcasts. Is Pitchy 173 here? No. Okay. If he's not here, I won't explain it. When you guys have a chance, you can go back in. But I believe what he's trying to say here is that all of the colors, black, white, brown, yellow, it's inclusive. We're all human. And on the right side, he has here, don't forget to love in the middle, right here. And don't forget to love. And this piece, I'm not sure if Deborah. Is Deborah here? Deborah? Okay, her piece is Fighting the Current, and that is very poetic, fighting the current for why Hanukkah ever even had to come about. It had to reclaim, it was fighting a current, it was. And this piece, Rima's from India. Rima, you're here?
Yeah.
Okay, very good. Would you like to say a few words about your piece, Hello from the Past?
Past.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm from South India, like in a place called Kerala. And we had a huge presence of Jews way back many centuries ago, starting from, they say, from the time of King Solomon. But then we have actual physical records from about 9th century AD onwards. And we had our first synagogue in 1125. So it's been the Jews has been a part of our culture, for such a long, long time. And we had Hanukkah celebrated in our plays and all that, all the Jewish celebrations, not just Hanukkah. So then, by when Israel was formed after 1950s and 60s, they all went back to Israel. And we just have just a few Jews back here now, maybe less than 10. So they don't have the quorum to conduct the synagogue, the prayers at the synagogue and all of that, So they have to have 10 men, about 13. That's what they say. So they've all left, and we have the synagogues here. Most of them have beautiful carvings and paintings, mostly done in Indian style, I think. I think this was done in a kind of a mural style that was prevalent in our temples and churches. Not churches, actually, temples, Hindu temples here. So I found this very fascinating on the Torah Ark. This was on the Torah. Most of the Torah Arks have been taken back to Israel. When they left, they took it back. But this one, in one synagogue, this is still maintained. So this is one piece of the Torah Ark, actually. It's very beautiful, the whole structure. And I thought of recreating that for the show.
Oh, thank you, Rima. It's beautifully done. Does anyone want to comment on Rima's piece? Thank you so much, Rima. Thank you.
Yeah.
And also we have Winston Harris. Winston, are you on the call?
Yes, I am. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, Winston. Would you like to say a few words about different as day and night, too?
Sure. I'd like to say thank you for having me involved in this exhibit, and say hello to everyone. I don't have video to my computer, so I can only do audio.
Okay,
so
that's
you can't
fine.
See me.
Yeah, but we can see your art.
Right. Well, that's the most important thing. Different as day and night was something that it's actually a triptych, and this is the centerpiece. It's actually about 40, maybe 112 inches by 36. But this particular section deals with the new beginning, and I thought it would be good for Hanukkah because you're talking about the new year. And that's what I was trying to represent. And this, in the piece, you see a lot of architectural structures and a lot of things dealing with time. I don't know if you could tell in the left-hand side at the bottom, it's pretty much a globe. If you can depict that, I know it's abstract, but
right.
You can see the circular motion with the spear going through it.
Yes.
Right, so that represents the earth, the globe.
Oh.
Right, and then above that, you see like different elements that deals with a bridge and architectural tools like triangles.
Yes.
Right. Right, and so and then on the right side, which represents the night, at the bottom of that is supposed to represent an abstract version of what is that called? Stonehenge. So you're dealing with time again.
Okay.
And another part of architectural instruments or tools with the triangle. And then the curvature above that is representing part of the sun and the moon.
Got it.
So I wanted to try to implement, and as you can see, the left side is brighter, that represents the day, and the right side is darker with a blue and purple tint, so it represents the night. And like I said, I wanted to represent a new beginning of the new year in the Jewish faith.
Okay. Thank you very much. And I'll read what you have as part of your narrative for this piece. It says Rosh Hashanah, literally meaning head of the year, is the Jewish New Year, and it is the first of the Jewish high holy days specified in Leviticus 23:23 to 32 that occur in the early autumn of the Northern Hemisphere. All right. Thank you. Thank you, Winston, for sharing this piece with us.
Oh, no, thank you. And I'm multitasking, so I have to go.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine. We're moving on.
All right. Thank you.
You're welcome. And this piece next is by Donna Marie Stairs. Is Donna here? This is called Into the Light. And it's the magnificent butterfly.
I'm here.
You're here? Okay, great. Great.
Yes.
Would you like to say a few words about the Into the Light, the butterfly?
Absolutely. I just first want to thank you from the bottom of my heart, Carolyn, and Dr. Sandra Epps for just offering this at a year and a time. I think, you know, this whole notion of coming from the darkness into the light and miracles, we could sure use it in 2020. And I just thank you for offering this to artists, offering a forum to us when there aren't many forums available this year. So thank you, thank you.
Sure.
So I have actually done a series of butterflies this year because of a very powerful meditation that I had last summer. And there's just something about the journey from the caterpillar to the chrysalis to the butterfly. It seems so impossible, and all these times in our lives when we have these mini deaths and these rebirths into something bigger and bolder and more beautiful. And so I felt that the butterfly was a really beautiful representation of Hanukkah and the darkness into the light and everything that it stands for.
Thank you. It's beautifully done. You have the blue blossoms and the colors, the orange, little sparks of orange outside towards the edges, and the butterfly itself like the monarch butterfly color, and of course the Jewish star in the center. Beautifully done. Thank you very much, Donna. I think you had another piece in the show, or is that the only?
I do have another one.
Yeah, it's this one, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, this one is called Hope 2, and it's a menorah. Please tell us what does the red in the background represent?
Well, the red is a flower that I did in alcohol ink, and I love alcohol ink because it's so free. You don't really ever know what you're going to end up with.
Okay.
So I love that, you know, there's just this bold, beautiful, and again, the metaphor of a seed being underground in the darkness and the light hitting the seed and what transpired, I felt was a really beautiful metaphor again for the menorah and the miracle that transpired around the oil just lasting so many more days than anyone had anticipated.
Okay.
So it's entitled Hope because I feel like there are times of darkness in our lives when we could use light and hope, and this menorah is such a symbol of that.
Yes, thank you. Thank you very much. So this piece, even though it's a canvas reproduction, you originally used alcohol ink.
I did in
okay.
its original form, yes.
Okay,
yes.
very good. Was the other piece also originally, what was the other piece originally done in? The butterfly.
The other piece was originally, it's a 20 by 24 watercolor.
Ah, okay. Okay, very good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Is Alfredo de Curtis on the call? He's from Canada. His piece is done with oil and acid-free Fabriano paper. He's shown many pieces in our shows, and he actually uses actual sand as part of his medium. So he calls this one Fruits and Flower and Bottled Ceramic Stand. So he has the feeling of the table setting. He told me, he said, I don't know if this really has much to do with Hanukkah, but I feel it does. And I think that his colors and the table setting and just the joy and celebration and the feeling of family that you get from this painting, I think that signifies much hope and family. And his next piece is here. It's called Still Life with Candles. So this one is a little more directly connected because it has the light and the candle. And this is oil and sand, again, panel mounted on canvas. So again, he paints oil on sand. It's not sandpaper, but it's prepared with sand. And it's a very beautiful outcome when the pieces are done. And if you actually held the piece in real life, you can actually feel the texture of the piece, that it is quite sandy and rough. But it comes out beautifully. So he's got a lot of detail here and also control of the oil on the sand. And the color, of course, is just gorgeous. I think we finished this gallery now, I believe. Let me just make sure, because they're like, we did that one. Let's check this one, make sure that we did this wall. Yes, we did. Yes, we did. We did that wall. I don't want to leave anyone out. Let's see. Okay, I think we're done this one.
I have a question for Donna before you leave.
Okay. Don,
can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Into the chat, I wrote in the chat, I noticed many menorahs have places for 9 candles, and hers had places for 7 candles. Which one is correct, 9 candles or 7?
I would think it should be actually 9, but being maybe one of the, Cantor Wolk can answer that.
Yes, I'd be happy to.
Thank you.
There was a menorah, candelabrum, which stood in the temple throughout the year. That was a 7-branched menorah. The Hanukkah menorah has 8 candles, one for each night of Hanukkah, and the 9th one is used to light the other 8. So you're talking about 2 different menorahs, one for Hanukkah and one which stood in the temple every day of the year. That's the 7-branched one.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Great. So now we move along to, thank you, Cantor Wolk, for that explanation. Is Tarma Fishman isn't here, but we have Ethel Kessler. Is she on the line?
I am.
Oh, wonderful, Ethel. I'm so happy that you're here. Please tell us a little bit about yourself and the 3 pieces that got into this exhibit.
I have the very fortunate position of being one of the art directors for stamps for the U.S. Postal Service. So I've been doing that for 22 years so far, and have done a lot of stamps. But one of the subjects that keeps coming up is Hanukkah. Being the only Jewish art director, I often get that assignment. And what I was very engaged with about your subject was that the question of what does Hanukkah mean? What does the holiday mean? And every time I do a new stamp, I have to ask again, okay, what have I not done that Hanukkah is? So these are just 3 out of 6 stamps that I've art directed, which means that I can call on anybody in the country who does whatever their art form is. In this case, Tamara Fishman is known for paper cutting. And so her piece was done, let's say 24 by 36 inches, but a stamp is only 1 by 1.5 inches.
Right.
So it has to be something that reduces all the way down and still retains its integrity. You can see in this one, everything that's white was paper and is connected. So if she makes a mistake, she starts over again. So every piece, every bit of white is connected to some other piece of white. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
Now, also, if you look at the green background, in the middle of the green is an interesting shape. It's like the shape of a vessel that you might find oil in.
Yes.
So it's like an ancient vessel shape. And then there are some other drawings on the bottom. I think that they were dreidels that she put into the illustration.
Okay.
But, and also Israel used the same design for their Hanukkah stamp 2 years ago.
Ah, okay.
So it was the art that we did that they also used. It was a joint issue.
Okay.
This next one is really, you know, it's so often it's kids lighting the candles. And through all the stamps that we've had before, we really never had kids lighting candles. So, and it's so interesting because Jing Jing Sung is a Chinese woman, an illustrator in Seattle. And I just thought the illustration was just so charming and that it should be on one of our stamps. And the next one was actually done first. It was back in, I think, 2004. You can see that Hanukkah is in the background.
Yes.
And there's an interesting little piece of a story that goes with this, which is that most of the dreidels in the US have 4 letters on the sides of the dreidels, a letter for each. Well, the words are Nes Gadol Haya Sham. A great miracle happened there. But when you have dreidels that are made in Israel, it's Nes Gadol Haya Po. Is that correct, Cantor Morris?
Yes, it is.
So it turned out that we had to change the letter on one of these because it had the pay for Po, which meant it was in Israel as opposed to the US. So, you know, it requires a lot of consultants being involved with us on everything.
Wow. Wonderful. I'm sure you enjoy this part of the job, I'm sure.
It's you know, there's always a new subject. I'm working on something on Kwanzaa now, which is not my holiday, but it's still holiday of lights.
Yes.
Candles and lights. And so it'll be a very new experience for me working with someone who celebrates Kwanzaa.
Ah, very nice. Very nice.
But
Thank you.
anyway, it's a great thrill to do it, to do stamps for the Postal Service.
Wow. Well, thank you so much for entering these pieces into the show. You've really brought a beautiful twist to what we're presenting and what we're speaking about. And
when I saw the title, I just thought, this is perfect. I better hurry up and enter it.
That's great. Great.
Thank you so much. What a lovely program. And unfortunately, I do have to go as well.
Okay,
so,
that's fine. That's fine. Thank you. I'm glad that you could explain this to us. Thank you. Okay, and we're almost done here. Okay. Do we have Darija Stepanik on the call? This is a total abstract painting. about spirituality and meditation. And then we also have from Canada, Shani. Is Shani here? She does paper mache on metal wire. Her sculptures are just beautiful. This says, we all have a light within us. We just need to let it shine. And what better time than the holiday of lights? Very nice, very nice. This piece reminds me of like the church. When you go to church and you look up and you see the windows, right? This one's called Resanctification. Is Ross here? Ross Boschnick? It says resanctification refers to the art of purifying and rededicating the temple of God after its desecration by Antiochus IV. Beautiful work, beautiful work. I thought I heard some sounds in the back. Is Ross here? No, okay. Is Natalie here? She's from Canada as well. This one is called Love in Orange, Gift of Joy. Again, the spirit of Hanukkah, of joy and love. It was the happiest day in my life when I received this huge bouquet of orange roses. This was my love in orange, and I want to give the sensation of happiness and joy to the audience. So this is her contribution to our exhibit, the feeling and the sensation of happiness and joy. Thank you, Natalie. And this is her second piece. Acrylic on canvas, and this also says love of a stranger. Love is the light and the human soul is the temple. We need love to light our temple. Very well said. And we have Darian Thompson. Is Darian here?
Hey Carol, I'm here.
Oh, great, Darian. Would you like please to speak about your piece, Hope, which is photography?
Yeah, this piece is it's a different combination, different photography pieces I have. Like you see the middle part, that's a it was originally a Christmas piece I did for exhibition last year. But I figured this work out for Hanukkah too, because it to me Hanukkah represents hope. And I feel like it's all religions, all celebrations, holiday traditions we have all represent hope. And I just see the colors and the light. It brings hope to me, and I hope it brings hope to other people who see it as well.
And you had a second piece, which was like the candle light. Yeah, here it is. This piece here. Flame of Bliss.
Yeah, it's the same one. With that one, I would just try and get like a photograph of the flame of a candle.
Okay.
Recently I've been doing like a lot of candle art, a lot of flames and stuff like that.
Okay.
Yeah, try to get closer to that. And it just reminded me of the with the oil lighting up for 8 nights, 8 days.
Right.
And it reminded me of that, and the light represents hope to me as well.
Right. It's very striking and it's very impactful and direct, and it's a beautifully photographed piece. I think you did an excellent job. The light, everything. It came out really beautifully. Really beautifully.
Thank you so much.
And I think the feeling of the light and the oil still burning, I think this is a good capture of that idea of something burning for a while. You can almost think, wow, that maybe this was that candle that was staying alight for 8 days. Right?
Yeah.
Wow.
Thank you.
Great. Does anyone have any questions for Darren? I'm sorry I didn't ask that for all the artists, but we're trying to streamline our gallery talk. So thanks again, Darren. Thanks again.
Thank you for having us.
Sure. Is David here? Happy Hanukkah. This got a lot of likes on Instagram as well. This is just paper. right?
Yeah, thanks for letting me be part of this.
Sure.
First, I'll say a couple things about Hanukkah. Hanukkah is the festival of lights.
Okay.
And Jews light different kinds of candles for different reasons. Like every Friday night, Jews traditionally light 2 Sabbath candles, which are kind of inner lights. Those are the candles we light to pray for peace within ourselves and within our families, within our homes. But on Hanukkah, the lights we light in the menorah are the lights that we want to shine out into the world. Following the teachings of the prophet Isaiah, Jews are asked to be a light unto nations. And we sometimes see ourselves as the chosen people, which gets us into trouble because it kind of sounds arrogant. We prefer to see ourselves as people who choose to follow the call of Isaiah and to try to be a light unto nations. And what that might mean is if it's snowing, as it did in the DC area last night and today, maybe you help your neighbor shovel snow out of their driveway. This card is rather bright because in the darkest of winters, which this 2020 winter might be for most of us in our lifetimes, maybe we need a really bright light. Mm-hmm. So I was just making a card for my wife, Deborah, when I saw Rabbi Sid Schwarz's email about the show, and I appreciate the opportunity to show this.
Very good. Thank you so much. Oh my goodness. Thank you for sharing that idea. Well, I did not know about the Sabbath Friday, that the candles were lit in the Jewish homes. I think that's a wonderful idea, just as a reminder and a just a gentle ritual to reinforce that idea of being a light and that you have a light inside of you, and I think to physically do that every week, right? I think that's almost like a physical activity mantra, right? So wow, that's great. Thank you for sharing that, David, with us. Wow. I think there was a piece next to, in the center here. This one is by Jose. Is Jose here?
Jose's in the gallery.
Yes, Jose. Hi.
Hello.
Thank you. Please tell us a little bit about your piece, Hanukkah Shared Vision.
So I must start by thanking Caroline for her devotion to us, the artists, and to the world of the arts. I also want to thank Dr. Epps for that challenge, which was really a true challenge from a time point of view and from putting me outside of my comfort zone. I am not Jewish, but this exercise actually helped me learn more about the culture and certainly about the celebration. My work is a mixed media, 22 inches by 28 inches on canvas. So in the background, and this is all based on my research, in the background, I went back to the history of this celebration. And of course, based on the internet, is based on, I guess, recovering the temple, the second temple of Jerusalem. So I represent that in the background. I represent the 8 candles for each of the days that is written. The work is actually called Hanukkah Shared Vision. So the whole concept or the common theme within the artwork is really the eyes of each of the portraits. If you observe closely, each of the portrait shares an eye with the portrait next to her. The middle ones actually share both eyes, one to the left and one to the right. So that being the theme, my interpretation was Hanukkah is about sharing goodness, sharing friends, sharing family, sharing the celebration. And lastly, I want to say it was actually challenging from a composition point of view, but I truly, truly enjoyed myself creating this work of art.
Thank you, Jose. I'm smiling and shaking my head up and down, nodding. Yes, it looks very, I could tell you took the time to figure out what you wanted to do. You did it. You did the candles, you did the background. And, you know, I have to say that you pressed me. You were like, I got to get in the show. I got to get in the show. And I'm so happy that we were able to get you into the show. And that your enthusiasm to be a part of this was something I could not turn away no matter what. So thank you for pressing forward and being resilient and being a light really unto yourself to show your own self the way to help other people. Don't give up, press forward, right?
Thank you.
Thank you. So I'm gonna keep going. I think we're almost done. I think we have this little one at the end. We did, so I keep going. That was David's. Okay, this one here we haven't seen. Beautiful little piece, 8 by 12, acrylic on canvas. Rosario, are you here? Rosario?
I am. I'm here.
Oh, very good. I thought I heard you. Please, can you tell us a little bit about your wonderful piece here? It's so beautiful. Look at the snowflakes. It's just what we need because we are I'm in New York right now. We had snow last night and earlier today.
And I'm in Colorado.
Oh my goodness.
And we had snow when I was painting that. So it was like the universe was connecting the lessons of Hanukkah for me. I did not grow up Jewish, so this was, like some of my colleagues have said, a real challenge, both on the artistic level, but also a spiritual and personal level. And so I am grateful for the experience. And so that's why the little girl just emerged as a growing spirit, somebody who's absorbing the lessons of Hanukkah. And she comes to the window where the menorah is at, and like a child in most any religion and any faith and any tradition of her family, coming to the window to dream, to look for signs of what she's heard during the day. This is like the morning. She wakes up and there's snow too. And one of the takeaways that I retained from my research about Hanukkah is how the light is supposed to spread, like goodness is supposed to spread. And the snow on the window that I had here in my studio was like, and then it was telling me, and it covers the ground. So if the spirit of Hanukkah could cover the ground, we are achieving something organic and beautiful and natural that is meant to be. So the composition was finished. Once all that came together, that's what I'm presenting to you to view.
It's beautiful.
So
yes. This is, and thank you for taking the challenge and learning more about different cultures. That's one of the missions of Art Impact International and also of Studio Gallery 208. We want to create a cross-cultural, international, global citizenry with the artists as the leaders of light to the world. So thank you for doing this. Thank you, all of you. Okay, we're going to keep going. Alyssa, is she here? This one, she's saying, honoring the power of women in Jewish history. So this is her acrylic, 30 by 40. This one is by Dr. Helen Dean, and she writes, first of all, is Dr. Helen Dean here on the call? I want to read what she wrote here. It's very interesting. It's historical. Israel Prime Minister David Ben-Gurion presented United States President Harry Truman with a Hanukkah menorah in 1951. This painting is painted with black and brown watercolor to bring out the nostalgia of the historic moment. So that's very interesting. I thought that's something that definitely needed to be shared with the attendees of the exhibition. And these three pieces are by Sol, and I believe Sol is here. Sol, are you here? You have to unmute yourself. Sol? I hope he didn't leave. These are abstract acrylics from his series Music for Your Eyes, Happy Hanukkah. So for him, this is a spirit of celebration again through music. So this is one, and then this is the next one. And Sol is an artist from Miami. Very nice work. This one is called Find the Way. Follow the light from the candles, Hanukkah light. And the last one is Light the Night, inspired by my father's cousin, George Gershwin, whose real name is Jacob Gershowitz. So he's related to George Gershwin, who of course is Jewish. So these three were his. I'm sorry he couldn't be here. I thought I saw his name in the attendees list. So I'd like to call to the floor our sponsor, Dr. Sandra Epp.
Well, once again, Carolyn, you made me feel with each of those artworks as if I literally helped to select, curate, and present your idea of what I thought. And everyone has said it in some way, that we have cultures and we have religions and we have traditions and we have celebrations, but oftentimes we don't know enough about what those celebrations are until you get people to talk about them. So this is the beginning of what I'm calling creative, courageous conversations. And because of the ability through Zoom, each one of you is a participant, because oftentimes we go to galleries, see the art, drink our wine, say hello to our friends, but don't know anything about the artist or necessarily whether or not I can afford to purchase a piece. So your word piece is instrumental in thinking about who of the participants has been a part of my journey from birth, and I say womb to tomb. In between, each one of us has created, but not necessarily talked about our creations. So in that, I'm very proud of being an Episcopalian, and the reason too that what is Hanukkah is an outgrowth of the Judeo-Christian ceremonies. Because we go to church, we read the Bible, we hear about the Jews, but I, as a Christian and an Episcopalian, we don't read the Bible that often. So when we have Bible study, you hear all these names, you wonder, goodness, they're hard to pronounce, and I can't remember all of them. The Bible was written by so many people. I have to be careful until someone says it's a book. Yes, it is considered by Christians one of their favorite ways of expressing their belief. So there are two people in particular that I wanted to highlight. One is Dr. Reginald Owens, who with me at the University of Texas, Austin in 1979, helped me to know as an artist that there are many people who haven't had a chance to talk about their art. So Reginald, can you speak? Are you still there? He may have left.
No, he's here.
But
I'm going to ask him to unmute. He's still here. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so Reggie.
No, Sandy, congratulations on another well-done project of yours. And as you noted, our collaboration at the University of Texas in 1979 on the first Kwanzaa celebration in Austin, Texas. And this is just a continuation of your commitment to matters that bring spirituality and community and collaboration to communities. And we need to have a better understanding of that. And I applaud you for this great work, and I thank you for your 41-year friendship.
Thank you, Reggie. And I mentioned at the beginning that I live in New York, but I'm a native Washingtonian, and so I have 3 residences. I have the Studio Gallery and an apartment in Washington at 6445 Luzon Avenue Northwest. And I saw the president of our cooperative, Cynthia Martin. Is she still there? Cynthia, are you there? Okay, she may have left. The other person,
No, she's here. She's here.
Cynthia?
Sorry, I'm sorry. I turned off the video. My battery was starting to run down on my laptop.
That's what happened to me. That's why I shifted to another space where I could plug in my battery. So Cynthia, she lives in the building on Luzon Avenue. We call it the Winchester. And I was invited by Cynthia to be on the board of the cooperative because I could never afford a cooperative in New York City. I'm in a rent-controlled Columbia University apartment since 1970. So I feel blessed that I can go between the 2 cities, enjoy each of those spaces. But Cynthia has helped me since August to better understand how the building I'm living in is introducing me to other owners in the co-op, but we often don't have a chance to know our neighbors. So Cynthia, do you have a comment? Because you have shown with your leadership that I can say and do almost anything at 6445 Luzon, because you're fearless.
Thank you, Sandra. Thank you, Dr. Epps. No, I just want to say how much I've enjoyed this. This has been wonderful. I love the artwork, just beautiful pieces. I saw many that I was like, oh, I'd like to have that. Yeah, this is wonderful. It's educational, it's spiritual, and it's even though it's over Zoom, it's just a lovely community to join. So thank you for having me.
Appreciate that. And then my co-director, Dr. Marietta Saravia-Shore, who I have known longest. I came to New York in '63, and in '64, after getting my master's in developmental psychology, I was given a job at City College in the College of Education. And that was when I first had an opportunity to know the Jewish culture and the people, because City College, as you well know, is a place where so many famous people have come from. And Marietta was also a research assistant, and we established at the Institute of Urban and Minority Education, which is Teachers College, Columbia University, a project called Cycle. Marietta, are you there? Can you unmute? Is she still there?
Let me look.
Am I unmuted now?
Yes, thank you, Marietta, for staying, because I called her today to make sure, because she didn't know when I presented the invitation that I was going to present. And that's because I didn't want to present. But once I started, you know that about me, and Carolyn will tell you about that at the end. So Marietta, could you comment?
Well, it's been so exciting to see what you have done, because this is like our long-term interest in cross-cultural education, cross-cultural spirituality, and this kind of brought those together. And so many of them celebrated the rituals that are so much a part of our life and so important to us to celebrate these events in our lives. So I was thrilled to see the artwork that embodied those rituals and the spiritual dimension of life. So thank you so much.
You're welcome. And I must admit, I'm a little selfish here because Marietta and I are joined at the hip. She was married to a Jewish artist, Bob Shore, whose work my parents and I purchased, collect, and it is in the Epps art collection that is in both cities. So there's one other person who lives in the Winchester. Aaron Brophy, are you still here?
Yes, I'm still here, Sandy.
All right. So this is a quick story, and this will be my last part of explaining as an artist, as an educator, as a world citizen, why this is important. Now, I am next door to Aaron, and Bobby Kidd and I were in the gallery, and I hear a knock at the door, and it's Aaron, and he says, I'm finally seeing I'm hearing some noise from your apartment because I've walked down into the building, and when the blinds are open, I see artwork. And I said, oh, so Aaron, do you want to, because he is the art teacher at Sidwell Friends. He also invited me to be artist in residence for a summer at the Dalton School in Washington, which I didn't know about because it's private and young men go there, and it's right across or near the Washington National Cathedral. So Aaron, would you make a comment?
Well, it's just been a treat kind of collaborating, Sandy, with you over the years. When Sandy was a visiting artist at Landon School in Bethesda, and over the course of getting to know each other, she invited me to visit the Porter Colloquium. And the Porter Colloquium is a renowned lecture and exhibition kind of series focused on the African American art and diaspora. And at the time I was researching an exhibition for Lou Stovall, and after attending the Porter Colloquium for a couple of years, it really made me appreciate her sense of collaboration, what she was doing with Howard, what she was doing with the Driscoll Center at the University of Maryland. And Sandy, I just really appreciate you attending our receptions at Sidwell and being supportive of the Sidwell Friends program.
All right, appreciate it. So in closing, it's going to be Carolyn who makes the final remarks, and she, as you have heard, has a repertoire of artworks from all over the world. And in that, my parents and I separately as well as together have traveled to every continent except Antarctica. The whole idea of learning about one's own family and families around the world is incorporated into my vision and my mission, because at PS 36, which is 2 blocks from where I live here in New York, I wrote an Annenberg grant 23 years ago to bring together what we're doing now, identifying individuals and institutions in New York City who believe the arts are central to the curriculum of students. And this is a pre-kindergarten to 2nd grade school. It's expanded now to 5th grade. And as you know about New York City, our mayor, as well as our governor, prides itself on having kept us safer from COVID than any other state. So PS 36 and its students and staff, parents, represent to me an opportunity to continuously interact with families. So many of my students, because I taught 1st grade, I never planned to teach, but that's what I did. And I just thought about how I was taught. I never took teacher education. But when I told the students that I lived 2 blocks away on Columbia University, I invited them each year to come to my house to see my art and to understand that not only was I a teacher, but I collected art. So I began painting, and that was in 1974 after a divorce. And I never knew I had any talent as an artist, but I went over to Riverside Church and took a course from a Jewish abstract painter who was teaching. And I went into her class with the idea, because I never knew that art could be abstract in terms of creating art, until I formally started studying and understanding the difference between knowing how to draw, and you know, from the beginning, kids are always drawing, to knowing how to create in a variety of styles, media, and representations. So Carolyn, could you tell us a little bit more about how Art Impact International started? Because her passion of getting everyone together is why I took this chance to do this.
Oh, sure. Can you hear me?
Yes, much better now.
Oh, great. Okay, let's see here. Okay, so I'm showing everybody so everybody can see when we do it, because we're still recording. Art Impact International actually started when I was probably in the 6th grade. It started because I noticed in my class there were students who were shunned by other students. You know, the in-group, the elite, and then the outcasts. Well, I decided, and they were very sad because it seemed like nobody wanted them in their group. So I figured, well, I'm going to start my own group, and I'm going to teach them how to crochet, and I'm going to have contests, and the winner of the contest is going to get my Cracker Jack toy, right? So it was great. So since then, I've always looked to art as a way to bring people together, to make them feel included. And artists are notorious to being the outcasts until they really come together, you know, renovate a whole neighborhood, and then the others come in, right? So as I studied art and I went to college, in college I would do my art, show my art, sell my art, get an A, and my fellow students would say, how do you do it? How do you do it? So I started teaching them how to market, how to get out there, show your art, what you needed to do. So in the early 80s or 90s, I had those little slide things.
Yeah.
And instead of carrying around a brochure like I do today, I carried around this little slide viewer. And anybody who asked me, I would show them my art. I said, look in here. You know, I put it up to their eye and put my artwork in. And so many of the professors bought my work. I got exhibits. I used to put my art under the bed. It never occurred to me to show it. So, but when I had my first show, it was just, I was shaking for the next 2 weeks. So I've gone through all the stages of an artist coming out, allowing herself or himself to call herself an artist, you know, because that is like weird, right? So, but as I went through the years, I always was doing my artwork, but it was not enough. Even though my artwork sold, I still felt not fulfilled. I couldn't put my finger on it, but I always helped other artists. So I said, you know what? I'm going to start an organization helping other artists get their work out there. And so that's what I've done. So it started Art Impact USA. Then we changed the name to Art Impact International. And now we have over 3,000 artists. We're opening up another office in the UK and India. So that's another reason why I'm traveling to Ireland to do some business and studies, but also I'll be close enough to start sort of, generate some interest over there. So we're spreading out, and I'm just really excited. And I felt like when you asked me to do this Hanukkah, what is Hanukkah exhibit, I felt, oh my gosh, we only have 4 days, but we can do it. So I immediately, and because the artist, I keep in touch with you guys, right? So you know me, and I sent it out, and sure enough, within minutes, I started getting entries for this show. So thank you guys for stepping up and showing your artwork. It was great. And I'm just going to keep going. And with the help of Dr. Epps, who has been gracious to allow us to use one of her spaces, 644-5 Luzon Avenue, as our headquarters and galleries, where we've already done workshops like how to self-publish, things like that. And you'll be hearing more about that. But thank you, Dr. Epps, for that. And also Bobby Kidd, who's also in charge of that gallery too. And so we have a lot of great things coming down the pike, and we'd love to collaborate with Sidwell Friends, with the other ones on the call tonight who have ideas that we can do things together, because really we can't do it by ourselves. We can't do it alone. We need a team. We need each other, So thank you very much for just being a part of this and helping to make this thing actually come true, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. So in closing, it's Bobby Kidd as the gallery director who was responsible for my first show in Studio Gallery 208. It's my parents who lived for 5 years outside of our home on Sheridan Street, Northwest. And it was at the residences at Thomas Circle for 5 years where Bobby assisted me in keeping my parents aware, because Mom had Alzheimer's, and not having her able to speak, and seeing so many other seniors around whose families often left them there and never came back, was also an inspiration for purchasing the apartment and now making it into a studio where I want to continue to paint and a gallery where I can exhibit art. So Bobby, do you want to make the final statement? Because it's you who helped me to understand how you can take a space, it's only a studio space, but it's beautiful, and we curate shows. So that's the next step, to invite artists to hang their work and to have ongoing exhibitions, receptions, hopefully in person, but if we can't, we'll just continue virtually. So Bobby?
Thank you, Dr. Epps. So much has been said and everything is so full. I don't have much to say other than just to turn it back to Carolyn. She's done such an excellent, distinguished job. And she said it all. There's no way that one individual can do this. By having someone like Carolyn do this, it brings us all together. It brings artists together. She is just the epitome of what it takes to support and encourage art, in her dedication to her artists, in terms of how she works with all of the people who are in her repertoire. It just amazes me how you, I don't know how you do it, Carolyn. And the people that I see you working with, they are so also dedicated to you. It's a testament to you, the quality, the level of your work, how you do it. And I got a lot to learn from you. So I just appreciate you, and I think you've done such an excellent job. There's really nothing more I can say other than this is just an awesome event and experience.
Great, thank you so much, Bobby. And so I would like now, and also Dr. Epps, thank you, Sandy, for giving us this challenge. It was wonderful. And I'm going to end it up now with a video that I recorded earlier today with Rabbi Sid. Can you see it?
Good evening. I am Rabbi Sid Schwarz, the founding rabbi of Adat Shalom Reconstructionist Congregation in Bethesda, Maryland, and a senior fellow at FellowHazon, the Jewish Lab for Sustainability based in New York. It's my pleasure to be with you this evening for your art show, which is being sponsored by Art Impact International and being sponsored by Dr. Sandra X of Studio Gallery 208. Thrilled to hear that over half of the art items in your show this evening are on the theme of Hanukkah. So I thought it would be nice to give you a little bit of background about the festival if you may not know that. So the Festival of Hanukkah goes back to a battle that was fought between the Maccabees and the Greek Syrians in the 2nd century before the Common Era. The Jewish people, of course, had the Holy Temple that was built in Jerusalem. But with the rise of Hellenism in the Middle East, the Greek Syrians took over Jerusalem and they essentially defiled the Holy Temple, bringing into it not only statues of Zeus, but also bring in pigs to slaughter and sacrifice, which of course is a violation of Jewish law. The Maccabees were a small group of Jewish partisans, zealots, sometimes they call them, who were not prepared to allow the Syrians to invade the temple, and so they fought what began as a guerrilla war, and it was a classic battle of the small against the great. The Greeks, of course, had big armies. The Maccabees were a small band that gathered many committed Jews to their ranks, and they eventually were able to drive the Syrian Greeks out of Jerusalem, and the temple was rededicated. And Hanukkah, the Hebrew word Hanukkah, actually is the word for dedication. That's where the festival gets its name, because once the Maccabees won that war, they were able to go into the temple in Jerusalem, clean it out, cleanse it fully, and rededicate it to worshiping God in the way the Jewish people had done since Mount Sinai. Now, there are several symbols for the holiday of Hanukkah. The most prominent one is the menorah you see behind me, a candelabra. It's called a Chanukiah, actually. It has 8 candles and a 9th, which is called the shamash, which is the candle used to light the other candles. And the 8 candles represent the 8 nights of Hanukkah. Now, why 8 nights? There's a legend that when the Maccabees were able to enter into the temple in Jerusalem, they found just a small cruse of oil, perhaps enough or sufficient to light a candle for one evening. And they lit the candle as part of the rededication, but miraculously, the light continued to glow for 8 nights. Now, even for those who don't believe that legend literally, and some do and some don't, we still see many miracles embedded into the festival of Hanukkah. Historically, Hanukkah is actually the first recorded war ever fought in human history for religious liberty. Many wars were fought over land and resources and treasure. But the first war fought for principle, for religious liberty, was this battle in the 2nd century before the Common Era of the Maccabees over the Greek Hellenizers who defiled the temple in Jerusalem. And so when we rededicate ourselves to the festival of Hanukkah, Jews remember this as a festival that holds up the issue of liberty. And I always love the fact that Hanukkah oftentimes coincides with December 10th, which is Human Rights Day, the day on which the Universal Declaration of Human Rights was signed in 1948. We know that Eleanor Roosevelt was a very important figure in crafting that. And the idea of that Universal Declaration is that all human beings, anywhere they live, need to be respected regardless of their race, their religion, their ideology, their sexual orientation, or what have you. And so when we think about Hanukkah, that coincidence of the Jewish festival with an international day that celebrates human rights is beautifully aligned one with the other. So I want to invite you to think about the miracles in your lives, the way that you or we need to stand up for principle in our own day. There are many forces of darkness around us today. And the Festival of Lights comes, just as Christmas does, at the darkest time of the season, and is with the light of Hanukkah menorah, just like the lights of the Christmas tree. We're reminded that we need to be the lights shining in that darkness to bring greater light into the world.
So guys,
Terrific.
So with that, I thought it would be a good ending. I know we heard about what Hanukkah is, but it never hurts to hear it again, especially from another person, and to just remind you of what it is and what we're doing here tonight. So I hope you really do now know what is Hanukkah. And if anybody ever asks you now, you can tell them, right? At least a part of it. So so I'd like to thank you, and if anybody has any last words, I'm willing to stay, but we can, say good night and thank you. God bless you. Thank you very much for all of the speakers, all of the artists, all of those who have shared their work and have learned now more about culture on this planet. So it brings us closer together to each other, to accept each other. Oil and watercolor may not mix, but if you let oil be oil and watercolor be watercolor, you can make a beautiful piece. I taught that to my art professor, and he said, wow. So with that, thank you very much. And unless you guys have any last words, any of the artists or the participants, I'm willing to stay a little bit more. Anyone?
Carolyn, could I mention something?
Yes, please.
Because my husband, Robert Shore, was an artist, and he would very often do his paintings in acrylic because he liked to have them dry fast. And, oil never really dries, but he loved the color, the purity of the color of oil paints. So on top of some of the acrylics, he would sometimes use oil paint.
Gotcha.
So you're right.
Yes.
It may not mix, but it can be layered.
Yes. And yes, and to that point, how I was able, my professor said it's impossible to mix oil and watercolor, but I found a way. I just made the ground paper and gessoed the paper, and with that, I can paint oil and watercolor, not mix them together, just let oil be oil and watercolor be watercolor. What part did I want to really flow was watercolor. What part I wanted to make the structure and stability, I put the oil. So just understanding the difference of the nature of the material will allow you to now create something beautiful that was never done before. So with that, I think of us as people, black, white, brown, red. Life would not be the same if we were all one. There's so much to do, and there's so much to understand. God is love, period. And so there's different parts, and with those different parts are the different cultures. And with the different cultures come different answers to different questions. So we need each other, and we need each other to stay true to our culture so that we can bring richness to this planet. Not to be imperially deculturized, but to stand up for our own cultures and to enjoy the cultures of others and allow them just to be themselves, right? Just be themselves.
Carolyn, what is your website?
Oh, it's you mean me as an artist?
Well, whatever your website is, or if you have more than one.
I do. Well, as an artist, I was one of the first artists to have a website back in the 90s. So I got a great domain name. It's it's abstractpaintings.org. I can put it in the chat. I'll put it in the chat.
Got it. Thank you. It was wonderful to meet you.
Oh, thank you for being here. And that's paintings with an S.
So, Caroline, can I just say one thing?
Sure.
If we could all unmute ourselves and give a round of applause to Caroline and Dr. Ellis and all the other organizers, the prayers, the artists, the viewers for a beautiful show. And I'm going to start.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Aaron. Thank you, Henry.
Yeah, okay.
All right.
A wonderful community of people, Carolyn. Wonderful.
Yes, thank you. I love you guys. You know I do with all my heart. And I just want to bring your art to the world. Sell the art. Let the people who see the art be inspired. Just to bring that light that we've been talking about all night, to be not just in our hearts and in our spirits, but in the artwork, so that we can share it with everyone. So thank you. And I guess
Merry
it's
Christmas, everyone, for those of us who are Christians. Because again, the whole idea of celebrations, Hanukkah, Christmas, and then Kwanzaa in this year, and then Happy New Year, because we'll have a change in leadership and our democracy will be brighter, lighter, like it was in the days of the Obamas.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
Bye-bye. Good night.
Good night, everyone.
Good
And like I
night.
said, I'm going to have this recorded and I'll send it to everyone. It'll be on the website.
Good night.
Good night. It's time to go.
All right. Henry, we're going to talk to you later, okay?
Okay.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.